My wife always refused to bath with me. Until I mistakenly splashed her water. And my eyes couldn't believe what I saw. From the very first day my wife, Nena, moved into my apartment here in the city, I noticed something strange about her attitude towards water. She was extremely cautious about it. She could stay an entire week without taking a bath unless I insisted. And even when I did, she'd reluctantly head to the bathroom, lock every door and window in the flat, then lock herself inside for hours. She could spend up to 2 hours in the bathroom, and when she finally stepped out, her eyes would be bloodshot and puffy, her skin glittering like it had been polished with some kind of gold dust. At first, I thought she was just into some serious skincare routine. I mean, here in Lagos, ladies love their beauty treatments, right? But I was dead wrong. It felt amusing at first. Whenever we went out and it looked like rain was about to fall, Nena would become extremely uneasy. She'd start rushing me, urging us to hurry back home before a single drop of rain could touch her body. I assumed she just didn't like rainwater. Some people claim to be allergic or sensitive to it. But with Nena, it was different, and it kept getting worse. You see, I used to believe that once I got married, my wife and I would share everything, including those fun, playful moments under the shower together. My friends often talked about how romantic it could be, splashing water, laughing, hugging under the warm spray, husband and wife things. But mine was different. After we made love, each time I suggested we shower together, her mood would instantly change. Her eyes would narrow, her face stiffen, and beads of sweat would start forming on her forehead, as though she was hiding something dark, something she didn't want me to know. You don't have to react like that, I'd often say, trying to lighten the tension. I was only joking. You can go ahead and freshen up alone. Then I'd go take my bath in our sleek, tiled bathroom, feeling disappointed. I also started noticing she never drank water, not even after eating extremely spicy food. I once asked her about it and she claimed she did drink water, just not when I was looking. Well, who was I to doubt my wife? Sometimes, after she finished washing the dishes in our modern kitchen, I'd go check and expect to see the sink wet or at least some droplets. But to my surprise, the sink would be completely dry, like it hadn't been used all day. Yet, the plates would be clean and spotless. I wanted to ask questions, but I kept my peace. Maybe she dries the sink with a towel, I told myself and walked away. But then, everything changed one strange evening. It had been a long day, and Nena hadn't taken a bath since morning. You need to take a shower, babe, I said, standing by the window and watching the rain begin to fall outside our apartment complex. You've been indoors all day. She hissed in response, stood up reluctantly from the couch, and made her way toward the bathroom. A few minutes later, I heard the sound of running water, but something didn't sit right with me. My curiosity began to burn. I quietly closed my laptop, tiptoed to the bathroom door, and just as I reached for the handle, her voice cut through the door like a sharp blade. Don't you dare open that door while I'm bathing, or you won't like what happens next. Her voice sounded strange. It wasn't like her usual tone, it was distant, otherworldly, as though she wasn't even inside the bathroom. Chills ran down my spine. I backed away and sat back down, pretending to focus on my laptop, but my mind wouldn't let go of that eerie moment. That night, sleep refused to come. The sound of the rain, the glow of the city lights outside, and the memory of Nena's strange reaction haunted me. I knew I had to find out what she was hiding, even if it meant risking everything. You see, Nena is a beautiful, innocent-looking young woman of 25, extremely fair, spotless skin, pointed nose, and eyes too striking for an ordinary human. The night I met her was one I'll never forget. I was returning late from work that evening. As a sales manager in Lagos, it had been a busy day closing multiple deals, and I was exhausted. It was around 10:30 p.m., and I was driving through a quiet part of the city, a shortcut road beside an abandoned cemetery. That's when I saw her. A lone woman walking barefoot by the roadside. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. One moment she was there, the next, she seemed to vanish into thin air. It happened again. And again. Each time I got closer, she'd disappear, then reappear a few meters ahead. I was terrified. This wasn't a place to stop for anyone at night. I'd already promised myself never to pick up strangers, not with all the frightening stories you hear these days. But before I could even decide, she suddenly stopped in the middle of the road and raised her hand to flag me down. It felt like something beyond my control took over me. My hands moved on their own, and I pressed the brake. "Please help me," she pleaded, her voice shaking. "I was kidnapped by a one-chance driver. They took everything from me and dropped me off here. You're the only person I've seen. Please." I swallowed hard. Part of me wanted to drive away. But looking at her, she seemed so harmless, so helpless. I sighed and opened the passenger door. The moment she got in, a sudden gust of wind blew past, shattering both my side mirrors. I jumped, startled. But she sat calmly like nothing happened. The drive back to my apartment was dead silent. Her lips kept moving, as though she was chanting in a language I couldn't hear. Each time I tried to listen, the movement would stop. But the moment I looked away, it would start again. By the time we arrived at my estate, my 2 dogs wouldn't stop barking. They barked non-stop the whole time she walked ahead of me toward my front door, like she'd lived there before. I hurried inside and quickly prepared a warm bath for her, thinking she'd feel better after what she'd been through. But instead, she curled up on the couch like a frightened child, still in her torn clothes, shivering. I didn't want to pressure her, so I let her be. That night, she barely touched her food, barely said a word. And she never took that bath. The next morning, as I prepared for work, I gently offered to drop her off at a police station or somewhere safe. But she shook her head, her eyes glassy. "I have nowhere to go," she said softly. "The kidnappers brought me here. I don't know anyone. Please, let me stay for a while. I'll leave when I find my way." Something about her felt vulnerable, but mysterious. I sighed and nodded. "All right. Just until you're back on your feet." From that moment, strange but good things began happening. Companies I'd long given up on started calling. Contracts worth millions of naira were suddenly coming my way. Opportunities one never imagined started pouring in. It felt like luck itself had moved into my apartment, and her name was Nena. But despite all the fortune, there were things that didn't add up. She never bathed while I was home. Never drank water in my presence. Never stepped outside when it rained. Each time she came out of the bathroom, her eyes would be bloodshot, and her skin would glisten unnaturally like gold. I tried to wave it off, convinced myself she was just different. But then, the night I mistakenly splashed her with water was the night everything changed. 3 days later. She was in the kitchen cooking. She had warned me never to come near the kitchen while she cooked. But my curiosity got the best of me. I waited for her to step out to empty the trash. The moment she left, I hurried to the kitchen door, reached for the handle. And that's when I saw it. Inside the dimly lit kitchen stood Nena, but not entirely human. From the waist up, she still looked like the woman I knew. But from the waist down, her skin was covered in thick, dark fur, long, clawed feet. She was half human, half something else. A strange wind blew past me again. I stood frozen. And right then, she turned, her glowing red eyes locking onto mine.